In today's video, we're going to look at potassium like it has never been discussed before. Why is it important for us? What happens when we're short on potassium? How to make up for the shortage of potassium? All of this and much more coming right up, so stay tuned. If you have taken your chemistry lab seriously, you may remember your teacher mentioning something about an element called potassium with the symbol K. I never understood why it was K and not P. Anyways, this mineral is super important for our bodies, and it performs many key roles inside our bodies. Let's look at them one by one. What exactly is potassium? We thought you might have the question, so before we jump into the details of the roles that potassium plays inside our bodies, first let's try to understand what it is. Ever heard of the term electrolyte? The name gives it away. It has something to do with electricity. Duh. When you consume salt or sodium chloride, it gets converted into sodium and chloride. This fluid of ions, as they call them, is highly conductive, and so are the individual minerals, sodium and chloride. Potassium is one such conducting mineral and is utilized in conducting electric signals inside our body. But unlike other minerals, it is required by our bodies in huge amounts, around 4,000 milligrams to be exact. Why is potassium required in such huge quantities? For that, you'll have to understand where exactly potassium is mostly utilized in the body. There is something called a sodium-potassium pump. There are small pumps made of sodium and potassium present on the surface of cells. The main job of these pumps is to act as electricity generators. They produce electric signals that allow different nutrients like glucose, amino acids, and calcium to pass through the cells. Hence, it opens up the path for nutrient exchange to take place inside the cells. So, the body needs these pumps to effectively utilize the nutrients from food. About 1/3 of the energy from our food goes towards the functioning of these pumps. These pumps are present everywhere inside our bodies, including muscles and the nervous system. If we talk about numbers, then the number of these pumps inside our bodies is between 800,000 to 30 million. Since potassium is essential for the building and maintenance of these pumps, hence potassium is required in huge quantities. There is another kind of pump also, called the hydrogen potassium pump, that is responsible for creating stomach acid for the digestion of food. Here again, potassium seems to be running the show. What happens when you fall short of the required potassium intake? Well, you face many problems. Let's look at a few of the troubles that potassium deficiency can cause. Number 1. Lack of energy. The food that we eat has energy. That energy is then utilized by our bodies to perform different tasks. But how exactly does the food convert into energy? The answer is potassium. The sodium-potassium pumps, as we said, produce an electric charge that allow different nutrients to pass through the cells. The cells then produce energy. If sufficient potassium is not available, the nutrients cannot pass and the cells cannot make energy. That explains the feeling of fatigue due to a lack of potassium. Number 2. Brain fog. Potassium is essential for normal brain function. Not only are the nerve signals dependent on potassium, but the brain itself slows down due to the lack of potassium. And what happens when our brains don't function like they're supposed to? We experience a phenomenon called brain fog. Brain fog is extremely frustrating. You lose your train of thought, you forget about stuff, and you can't concentrate on things for long. It can affect your day-to-day life and kill your productivity at work. This brain fog should be fixed pretty easily. Increasing the amount of potassium in the diet is sufficient to solve this issue most of the time. Number 3. Muscle cramps. Another problem is muscle spasms. The real culprit behind these cramps is calcium, since it is responsible for the relaxation of muscles after contraction. But how much calcium enters our cells is regulated by potassium, the sodium-potassium pump. The muscles work by contraction and expansion. When everything is fine, the potassium is available. The muscles can contract and expand without any problems. But when the potassium level drops, suddenly there isn't much calcium flowing in, and so the muscles get tangles in a contracted state, and you feel cramps. Number 4. Irregular heart. Do you know what is common between your sweetheart and deficiency of potassium? They both make your heart skip a beat. As we said, potassium is an important electrolyte. It's important for the conduction of electrical signals. Hence, it is important for nerve signals too. You won't use a very thin wire for electricity conduction, right? For starters, it would burn out. But, in the case of our nervous system, the signals would become weak, or may not even reach in some instances, if potassium is not sufficient. This phenomenon is associated with an irregular heartbeat and heart skipping beats. Irregular heartbeat means the heart isn't functioning properly. That means the organs and tissues aren't receiving adequate blood. meaning you could die because of a shortage of potassium. Number 5. Fluid retention. Our bodies are 60% water, 40% of this water is inside our cells, and the remaining is outside fluid, namely blood and spinal fluid. The concentration of electrolytes affects the concentration of water in the cells. Potassium is the main component of the fluids found inside the cells, and sodium is the main actor of the outside fluid. The concentration of both of these electrolytes is almost similar. What happens when the concentration of potassium drops? The sodium concentration increases relative to potassium. This makes the outside fluid more water-thirsty than the inside fluid. It is easy to guess what happens next. You guessed it. Our cells shrink. They lose water. By the way, this phenomena is called osmosis. This is the reason behind fluid retention. Now that you know how important it is to consume enough potassium, your next question must be, how should I go about increasing my potassium intake? Don't worry, we've got you covered. Let's look at 5 potassium-rich foods which can help you meet your daily potassium need in a mouth-watering way. Number 1. Banana. You knew it was coming, didn't you? Whenever potassium is mentioned, banana comes up naturally. It is one of the most popular fruits in the U.S., commonly known for its potassium quantities. A single banana has around 422 milligrams of potassium. That's about 10% of the recommended daily intake, or RDI in short. Other than potassium, it is also rich in magnesium, vitamin B6, and vitamin C. Its health benefits include strengthening the nervous system, helping weight loss, and reducing swelling. Number 2. Avocado. People make the mistake of considering bananas as the only source of potassium. That's why so many people suffer from the deficiency of potassium. I mean, you can only eat so many bananas. Avocado is another great source of potassium. They are commonly known in the weight loss community as a source of healthy fats. There are large reserves of potassium in avocados. One full avocado has around 950 milligrams of potassium, around 20% of the RDI. Who said meeting potassium intake requirements was tough? Number 3. Beans. Beans are underestimated a lot. They are a source of many essential nutrients, and they are easy to get too. Beans is a broader category that includes white beans, such as peas, cellini beans and lima beans, and black beans, aka the turtle beans. The potassium content in these beans is off the charts. A cup of white beans has around 829 milligrams of potassium, which is 18% of RDI, and a cup of black beans has around 611 milligrams of potassium, 13% of the RDI. Not only potassium, but these beans are also a great source of vitamin B, iron, and protein. Number 4. Spinach. Whenever we think of spinach, only one thing comes to our minds. No, it's not potassium. Let's be real here. We think about Popeye, the Sailor Man. The great show was our childhood companion, and we had some great times due to this show. The point is, even our man Popeye knew the importance of spinach. Spinach is a source of many nutrients and minerals, including potassium. 1 cup of frozen spinach has around 540 milligrams of potassium, or 12% of RDI, while 3 cups of raw spinach has around 558 milligrams of potassium. Other nutrients present in spinach include vitamin A, vitamin K, and magnesium. Number 5. Potatoes. Potato is a staple food in many countries around the world. Not only is it delicious, but it has also been reported to be the best dietary source of potassium. In terms of numbers, a small baked potato contains 738 milligrams of potassium, 16% of the RDI value. However, it is important to note that the potassium content is not constant in all the varieties of potatoes. The potassium content depends on the type of soil and also on the way the potato is eaten. Potassium is the most important electrolyte in our bodies, and it is required in large quantities for normal body functions. But unfortunately, only around 3% of the adults in the U.S. are consuming enough potassium. That explains the exponential increase in the list of our problems. Most people are unaware of the sources of potassium other than bananas. But now you know 5 great sources of potassium to make your daily requirements. Include these potassium-rich foods in your diet and see the magic. We hope that you benefited from this video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video with your friends and family, because they may need to learn a little more about potassium. Want to see more videos like this one? Please subscribe to our channel, Welcome to Wellness, and press that bell icon as well, so you never miss another video. We'll see you in another healthy video. Until then, take care.